Hey everybody, thanks again for joining us this week at KonKon's Cantina podcast. Finally, the season finale, Chapter 8 of the Disney Plus original series The Mandalorian, entitled Redemption. Major spoiler warnings ahead, as you already know. Have you watched the episode yet? Join the conversation. Our Facebook group is popping right now. That is facebook.com/KonKon's Cantina. You can also hit us up on Instagram at KonKon's Cantina. And if you would like to work with us in regards to a sponsorship or a shout out, please reach out to us at KonKon'sCantina@gmail.com. Don't worry, just because The Mandalorian is ending obviously doesn't mean that the podcast is. We have our first live show coming up January 8th at Wops Hops Brewing in Sanford. Come by, have a pint, support us, and we would love to see you guys there. Just because The Mandalorian is ending doesn't mean that the podcast is. We still have some bonus episodes set up for you guys, and regular episodes will still be coming out on Monday. So, without further ado, Mandalorian, the season finale, Chapter 8, Redemption.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Don't you agree?
We back?
No. Welcome to Justina's Cantina.
Justine's.
Some nice jizz.
Chapter 8.
Music playing in the background.
What's up, everybody? It is your boy. It's KonKon. We here in the studio, not really a studio, in my little man cave office here, once again to talk about, well, we're talking about Mandalorian, but we just have a lot of stuff to talk about in general.
A happy and sad day.
Yeah, I mean, season 1 has come to a close, but we still don't have a date for the release of season 2. We know that they're filming, so that's kind of sad. But listen, I got to introduce you to the crew. You already know them. You may love them. You may hate them. I don't know. You probably hate me. I don't know.
Yes.
I hate you.
Listen, just get in line. Sitting across from me, the PR, the man himself, the man
mogul
of many names.
What's up? It's Justin Baker. You can find me on PlayStation on Atreyu_Baker.
There it is.
That's
Atreyu.
truth right there.
Atreyu with a 3, not a E.
By the way, I totally looked for you on Yahoo Pool. Could not find you anywhere.
Dude, I'm on there.
we out there taking money like Lando. And, sitting to the other side of me, the tallest man in the room.
Here I am, Russell Allen, magistrate. Ayo.
Guys, we are a Cantina podcast, so we're going to head into the Cantina right now.
Welcome to KonKon's Cantina. What are you having? But remember, no droids.
This week, I'm keeping it simple, okay? I am drinking a double IPA from Trader Joe's. Now, don't turn your nose up to this, okay? It's 8%. You know how good it feels to drink an 8% beer? That's $1 a can. Okay, say it with me. $1 a can.
I have
This is the way.
a funny story about Konnor raving to me about how good this beer was through text message.
And you're going to tell me about it right now. But it's not coppery at all. It's actually really smooth. As far as a lot of people don't like IPAs, they kind of compare it to like a soap taste. This one really does have more of like a wheat taste, more like a wheat beer on the IPA side. And that's because of the 8%. And the IBU is actually super low. I recommend it. So Trader Joe's is definitely worth your time to pick up. It's a red can. It's called Boatswain's Double IPA.
Trader Joe's. Let's
Dude, coming
emphasize
in,
Trader Joe's.
Trader Joe's coming in clutch. Now tell me about this Trader Joe's story.
So Konnor messages me in a group text and is raving about this amazing double IPA he found that was so cheap because it was such a good deal. And he's like, man, you got to go to Aldi and get it. And I'm like, man, all of Aldi's beer that I've had has been mediocre
garbage
at best. So I get excited, like, it's a rainy day, but he's talked it up so much. I drive to Aldi. They don't have it. So dang it. So I was like, you know what? I got another Aldi like 15 minutes from my house. I'm already
Two
out.
Aldis?
Go to the next Aldi.
That's determination.
Listen, Sanford's living it up.
And I hit him up. I'm like, dude, where is this beer? I've been to 2 Aldi and they don't have it. And he goes, Aldi? Why are you at Aldi? It's at Trader Joe's, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, Don't, he said Aldi. Scroll back, screenshot it. Dude straight up said, this Aldi beer is amazing.
Listen, I can't be held accountable for the things that I text. I have half a thumb, okay? And the
three-quarters of a thumb.
Okay, I got 3/4 of a thumb, and I still have not gotten used to texting. I know that sounds weird, but it's true.
Whitney's going to be mad at me, but wait, is Trader Joe's owned by the makers of Aldi?
No, they're not even remotely
They're not
the
even
same.
remotely the same.
I thought they were. No. It's Aldi's and somebody else.
Isn't Trader Joe's like Whole Foods?
Oh, dude, we already got to move on. We're giving so much wrong information.
Tangent.
Yes.
Backstep.
Anyway, I went like on a 45-minute drive through the rain searching for a beer that
Did
was
you go to
never
Trader
near me.
Joe's?
No, the closest Trader Joe's to me is either Sand Lake or Winter Park, which
Oh yeah, that's
in
far.
rainy rush hour traffic is an easy 1-hour trip, one direction.
But you got 2 Aldis.
Yeah, I do have 2 Aldis.
And the wine at Aldi is on point.
Aldi's wine is good and a good deal.
With that being said, with the no Aldi and no Trader Joe's, what are you drinking, Justin?
I'm drinking a nice glass of a brisk, buttery Chardonnay. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
I went to a local brewery by me in downtown Sanford called Deviant Wolf, who they make some of my favorite beers. They have a killer sour that's called Sour Manjaro, which is like a coffee sour, which is amazing. That's not what I got this time. What I got this time is Druid Lord, and it's an amazing IPA.
It's a very big can. Comes in pint?
Well, this is just a crowler. They don't bottle anything there. But
Druid, we're going high fantasy.
Yes. Very, very delicious. And Konnor, I think you like citrus IPAs.
I do.
If you do drink an IPA, Konnor or Russell, you don't like IPAs?
No, I do. Yeah,
it
took me a while, but I got there.
But is the citrus that you don't like?
No, I like citrus. I think the last episode I was drinking something from your fridge over there it was an IPA, but it had a nice citrus kind of essence to it, and it kind of leveled out the IPA bitterness.
Yeah, it'll.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to get a sip of this. It's a very pineapple and citrus forward IPA.
Nice.
And then they put in some Citra and Brew One hops to kind of mellow out that flavor, so it still gets a nice. It's 35 IBUs and 7%, and it does not taste like a 7% beer whatsoever.
Nice.
Well, I am drinking cream soda. No, I'm just kidding.
A&W.
A&W, baby, the only way. This is actually a Brewlink Crazy Days cream ale. So I guess it's similar to a cream soda.
No. Have you had a Genesee cream ale?
Yeah.
Like super cheap, but they're actually pretty good.
Yeah.
How's it compared to the Genesee?
I actually like the Genesee better, to be honest. But it's not bad. It's refreshing.
1 star, would not buy again.
Yeah,
It's at the right price point though.
$1 a can.
Yeah, it was $1 a can as well.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's
was
not
that
bad.
another Trader Joe?
No, that one I got
Aldi.
from ABC. Yeah, Aldi. It was Aldi.
Yeah,
it was Aldi.
There you go.
Well, guys, thank you for joining us in the Cantina. And this week, we are getting into the agenda of this episode. And this episode, we have a special segment. We are going to be talking about Clone Wars and Rebels, the animated Star Wars series, and which one we like better and why. And the reason for that is because our newest bit of Star Wars content, besides the ending of Mandalorian Season 1, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, we have a new season of Clone Wars coming out.
Yep, that'll be the next Disney Plus Star Wars content we'll get.
After that, we have our Mandalorian recap, and we will be ending with news. So, Clone Wars
get into it.
and Rebels. A lot of people
won't even watch them, period.
they won't even let their cursor click over it. And I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to blame you because both season 1 of Clone Wars and Rebels is difficult to get through.
Yeah, they're very kiddie, childlike cartoons.
But Dave Filoni got a hold of Rebels,
Clone Wars first,
and
both.
Rebels.
Both, really.
And he made them good Star Wars content.
Mhm.
So,
well, Clone Wars started out great when it was the Tartakovsky little mini series that it was originally.
Oh man.
you know that's no longer canon.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
Very upsetting.
Yeah.
But that's worth your time too. We're doing a bonus episode on that. That is a 1.5 hour mini movie. Well, it's an hour and a half. That is a full movie.
Yeah.
And it
For an
started.
animated movie, that's the full length.
Yeah, it started out as
original on
a
Cartoon Network.
Cartoon Network
micro
Toonami
series, yep.
Yeah, 5-minute episodes, and yeah, that was awesome. But
There is a reason why at the beginning of Revenge of the Sith, of course, at the time when this movie came out in 2004, Grievous is like coughing. That was because in one of the animated series of Clone Wars, Mace Windu like force crushes him when he's leaving.
Yeah.
And that was like so cool to see in the theater. I'm like, you know why? I turn to my sister. I'm like, you know why he's coughing? And she's like, no. I'm like, let me explain it to you.
And that's the what's the
Tartovsky.
Yeah, that's not the ones we're talking about. We're talking about the Star Wars Dave Filoni Clone Wars
Disney branded. Yeah.
So for a little bit more context, Rebels is 4 seasons. Each episode is about 22 minutes.
Yeah, they're in the short.
Let's say 20 with intro and credits. And then Clone Wars is 6 seasons. Each season has 18 to 22 episodes. And each episode is 22 minutes and 20 if you take out the intro and the credits. Now, my favorite between the two is Rebels. And the reason for that is because Rebels was a brand new story, and we didn't know what the stakes were to that story. We didn't know these characters. They were all brand new characters introduced to us by Disney. We hadn't seen them in any of the movies that we had already had, so we didn't know what their future was. We didn't know if any of them were going to die. We didn't know if they were going to live. So the stakes of the show, even though it was a child show, you didn't know what was going to happen. And from the very start of season 2 and even going into season 3, it became
it matured quick.
Yeah,
too.
it became very real Star Wars content. So that's my pick between the two is Rebels.
Yeah, before we were recording, we were kind of spitballing this idea, and I kind of said the same thing. Clone Wars was kind of a story that you already wanted. You wanted to see that in between of Anakin and his fall to his dark side and his anger and what turns him into Darth Vader. So you already knew who he was. You knew Obi-Wan. You knew Mace Windu and Yoda, all these characters that were in there. So they had an awesome baseline to make this show. Rebels had to start from scratch, and they had to build and develop these characters for you to actually love them without having all that predisposed backstory that everybody and their brother already knew about. And because of that, like you, I think they're both amazing, and I love both of them, but I got to give it to Rebels, as Dave Filoni pulled it off like killer in that show.
Yeah, it was very hard for me to decide which one I liked better. I love them both so much. I would say that Clone Wars, though, is my favorite just because it introduced us to so much lore, and that's why I'm a Star Wars fan, is the lore. We always knew the Clone Wars were a thing ever since the original 1977 A New Hope, when it wasn't even A New Hope. So to see that
in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, exactly. So to see that unravel and get into each episode and the intricacies of the war, you know, even though there were characters we all knew, except Ahsoka.
Yep, you took the words out of my
which
mouth.
she is by far one of my
Amazing.
most favorite characters in the Star Wars galaxy.
She's growing on me.
She kind of filled the hole for Mara Jade for me, because she was the kind of the cool younger female Jedi that we never got any stories canon that were female Jedis except Mara, who then was retconned out.
She kind of gave a voice to the female Star Wars fans who only had Leia. You know, they had Mara, which you said, but Mara was never put on a screen. So just like you said, she filled that gap of having a female Force user even before Rey was around.
And when Dave Filoni was doing, the original concept art or doing the original animation bits, George Lucas pays a visit to him in the studio at Skywalker Ranch. Was like, you know that
cool.
Anakin's always had a Padawan, right? And Dave's like,
What?
Really? What? Yeah, no, he's always had a Padawan. So write that in there, make that happen.
Bro, where have you been? Come on.
So Dave's like, okay. So I think this was during the movie, right? The original Clone Wars movie is when they introduced her. So that was during the pre-production of the movie. So it's just, I love that whole thing. And obviously before Disney bought Star Wars, Clone Wars was a thing. So we're getting, you know, obviously not the first couple seasons, which are very kiddish in a way, but after season 3 and on, it gets very adult, very gritty. It tells a story with at the time was groundbreaking animation. My brother-in-law saw it recently. I was playing it on Disney Plus, and he was like, "What kind of weird animation is that?" I'm like, "Hey man, at the time this was groundbreaking."
It's almost like they had to start on both of these Rebels and Clone Wars. They had to start kid friendly, more like simple, and then work their way up to it, which does give me hope for Resistance. Because I think all three of us have tried to watch the newest animated, and it is so childish.
It's
and
rough. It's rough.
Maybe we'll get lucky and they start with that to get like downloads that then they can then ramp it up.
And that's where I would tell people, if you're going to start watching Clone Wars, because you are kind of looking for more lore, you're looking for more Star Wars material, and you don't want to just jump into reading books, I would start at season 3 of Clone Wars and watch all the way through season 6. And I would start at season 2 of Rebels and watch all the way through. That is if time
is of the essence.
Of the essence. It kind of matters. Season 1 has a little bit of character building with the Rebels in the show Rebels. It's not exactly necessary. And then you can literally, we already know the stories mostly between episode 2 and episode 3. So that's why you can kind of start at season 3 of Clone Wars and go from there.
Although I would say the very first episode of Clone Wars with Yoda.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I would definitely watch
it
that episode.
Awesome.
It's only 22 minutes.
Yeah, it is.
And
awesome.
then after that, skip, because the rest is just kind of story building, but character development.
Man, and that's another thing now that we're talking about it that makes me, I like Clone Wars, is you get all these personalities from all these clones.
That's what I was going to say next.
And we have Rex.
They follow over into Rebels too.
Exactly. Rex, Cody, Fives, Heavy. We have all of these, even though they're clones, they develop their own personalities, and even though Clone Wars is on the bottom of my list for like Star Wars movies, going into Revenge of the Sith, a lot of these clones have already developed a personality.
Yeah, and with Stormtroopers, this was before Finn took off his helmet, so I'm not saying clones and Stormtroopers are the same, but we've always kind of wanted to see what was underneath the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the first time, beginning with that very first episode where Yoda actually has all the clones take off their helmets, and although they have the same face, which I think they even have, that's in the dialogue. Well, there's nothing to see here, Master or General.
We're expendable. We're clones,
right? But they all had their own tattoos, facial, haircuts, and for the first time in Star Wars history, we're getting to see what's under the helmet
behind the mask,
what makes all the individual clones unique.
Yeah,
and that carries through the entire show.
Yeah,
it just adds a little bit more weight, especially when some of them turn.
Order 66.
Yeah, some of them turn and some of them don't.
Yep.
Yeah, they weren't robots. They had their own personalities.
And when Cody gets the message from the Emperor or issue Order 66, and he turns and fires on Obi-Wan, and the music, and then the Vertisil falls, and oh man, it gets me every time.
Boga.
Fractal.
Boga.
No, it's a fractal.
Is it?
Yeah.
Dang it. I thought it was called a boga.
I wrote one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. Not subtle, by the way. Obi-Wan's like trying to sneak up on them, and he gets like the loudest creature he can find on that planet. But with that being said, guys,
it's worth your time.
We are gonna get into it. Mandalorian Chapter 8.
Woo. And it is a good one.
We start off and we flying across the scape with Baby Yoda in a backpack, a sack of 2 scout troopers, and they approach the city on the planet Navarro. After being told that they have to wait patiently, they begin to punch Baby Yoda and shoot at something for target practice.
Which they miss multiple times.
Many women were cringing and probably crying watching them bonk.
I watched
El Kabong him right in the head, like
dude, whack-a-mole, unnecessary roughness.
I watched it this morning with my family. We were on vacation. It was right before we left. We're like, well, before we leave, we have to watch Chapter 8, of course. But every time he hit the Baby Yoda, we were all like, oh no, oh. My mom's in the back. No, what is he doing?
Speaking of these troopers, I kind of previewed this, guys, to you. Did you figure it out who the trooper on the right that's holding Baby Yoda is?
That is Trooper 1. Tell us who Trooper 1 is.
Jason Sudeikis.
Or now are you positive?
I'm 100% positive.
Yeah,
did it say it in the credits?
I don't even need to see the credits. I'm 100% positive.
Got it.
Listen, I'm wrong about a lot. This will probably be one of those things. But with confidence, that is 100% Jason Sudeikis.
We'll fact check you next episode. Trooper 2 wants to see the baby. Trooper 2, after being able to see the baby, after encouraging that maybe he needs water, he needs to make sure that Baby Yoda is okay. Because all of a sudden, our trooper cares about Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda bites our trooper on the finger.
And then he hits him again.
Dude,
I was like, really? 3 times you're hitting this little creature?
Dude,
jerks.
He gets hit too much.
Why
obviously,
are you still fighting for the Empire? 5 years later, you're an idiot.
Obviously, they're resilient. IG-11 then approaches the scout troopers, warning them to stop hurting Baby Yoda. After snapping the wrist of Trooper 1 and completely Hulk smashing Trooper 2.
Very Thor Ragnarok-y.
IG-11 takes possession and Baby Yoda into safety. Kara, Chubbs, aka Grief Karga.
Can we start calling him Grief?
Listen, we're 8 episodes in. It's Chubbs.
He is Chubbs.
Right. We probably still have listeners that are like, "Who's Chubbs?"
Yeah,
Chubbs is anyway. Grief Karga. They are still pinned down with Armando in the Cantina. The Empire then starts to set up an E-Web repeating heavy turret. Our heroes try to escape through the sewers, but to no avail.
Which is a sewer grate apparently made out of Beskar steel.
Yeah.
Because they try everything on that thing.
Dude, the
heavy weapon blaster.
The Empire learned once Leia shot through that one grate to the sewer, they're like, listen, we can't
secure our sewers.
We can't be having this again.
Well, that was on the Death Star.
I said they learned. Okay. They're implementing.
The Empire apparently built this cantina.
Yeah, they're implementing it everywhere. Okay, we can't be having people escaping through the flight chutes anymore.
Sewer tech has increased.
Exactly. Moff Gideon then offers our heroes a deal. He then proceeds to give personal information and the names knowingly of each one of our heroes. Armando is finally named Din.
Confirmed.
Din
Djarin.
Can
we just? I can imagine the actor of what's his name?
Pedro Pascal. Moff Gideon.
Moff Gideon just sit knowing he's going to go into filming, he's practicing in front of the mirror as soon as he wakes up in the morning with this line, because he delivers these lines perfectly.
Yeah, dude, they're crisp.
I mean, oh my gosh,
he has a cool cadence of the way he talks and speaks, and it's very unique and authoritative. And
it reminded me, it's very like Tarkin. Like, remember when all the Moffs are sitting in the room in a New Hope, and it's very they know what they're talking about. And that's what it reminded me of. It was very, very pointed.
It's a good actor.
Yeah, definitely. He talks about grief. He also talks about Kara. He gives them the name of our Mandalorian. Gideon will then...
Who also confirms he is not a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He is not by blood a Mandalorian.
Gideon tells them that he cannot be trusted, that he will act in his own self-interest. He gives them till nightfall to consider...
You have all day.
Yeah.
He looks at the sun. It's about 3:00. You have until nightfall.
You'll be all right. You'll come to a decision by then.
But before we go on, he does mention stuff that we've never known about. The Siege of Mandalore, the Night of 1,000 Tears. I think that was the first time that I guess, siege battle was mentioned by name.
I did a quick Google and couldn't find anything on what that was either. Yeah.
And that's exactly where we get into Din explaining that he is not from Mandalore. So, moment of silence for our boy not being a Mandalorian.
It is not a race, it is a creed.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, really, was it... It was kind of confirmed when he was on the village planet.
Listen, I died on this hill. Okay, I'm dead. All right, I died on the hill. I wanted him to be from the planet Mandalore.
I think it's cooler that way.
I don't have a problem with it. It's like we talked about, and like he literally says, that was always the cool thing about Mandalorians. You didn't have to be from the planet. You could have been a Twi'lek that decided to be a Mandalorian. You could have been a Zabrak and decided to be a Mandalorian. It was all about adopting the Kree, the way of life. This is the way that, it's almost like a religion, a code. That was the whole point.
Weapons are my religion.
And if that's why they never can take off the helmet. You won't know I'm a Twi'lek because I'm never taking this off. Yeah.
IG-11 then comes blasting into town, guns blazing, racking up Halo multi-kills like you wouldn't believe.
He is going SWAT crazy, one-shotting them.
Double kill, triple kill, kill-tacular. He's getting them all. After crashing into the town square, a major...
Hold on, before we move past there,
tell me.
Did anybody catch Baby Yoda's pure squeal of pure glee as he's one-shotting and killing all these stormtroopers? Baby Yoda is so happy.
He's smiling for the camera on a roller coaster. He's like, wee. Yeah, this is the part where they come and they take the picture. And
it makes me think that this Baby Yoda has a little, this and a couple other things, he's got a little bit of the dark side kind of in him. Are you ever catch that vibe?
Maybe he just liked the wind in his ears.
I don't know. He's always happy watching one of his caretakers take people out to protect him.
Well, Russell brought out a point last episode when Yoda was trying to fly the ship. Maybe he was trying to not go back.
Yeah.
We've established that Yoda's getting to the point where he's Baby Yoda. It has a sentient aspect to him where he's understanding a lot, and he probably knew where he came from, because we've pretty much come to a conclusion that the Empire obviously had him at one point. Moff Gideon in his speech tells him, you think you know what you have, but you don't. You have no idea how much he means to me in the previous episode.
Yeah.
So kind of Yoda, little Baby Yoda didn't want to go back, and maybe he is finding joy in finding his former captors being killed.
Well, that's another thing too, Konnor, is he's 50 years old, so he was there the rise and fall of the Empire. He was there during the Clone Wars, so he's seen a lot. He may not have been, I don't want to say sentient. He may not have been conscious, because when you're extremely young, you don't remember a lot.
Children and babies take stuff. They might not understand the intricate details, but they form opinions and take stuff in. They
know what a stormtrooper looks like, so when they see one get
good
picked
guy,
off,
bad
like,
guy, they can figure out that much.
Kill him.
After IG-11 comes blazing into the town square, crashing his speeder bike, a major gunfight ensues. Mandalorian, Cara, and Cara alike bust out of the cantina and start taking out stormtroopers one by one. An amazing 1v3 fight then ensues between Armando and 3 Death Troopers. One of my favorite scenes.
Yep.
Wanted it to be a little bit longer, though. I wanted the Death Troopers to put up a little bit more of a fight.
They just gave you some crumbs. Here you go.
Notice their size compared to Mando? Like, they kept the height of a Death Trooper like a legit thing.
What book were we reading? Oh, Thrawn 3.
Yeah.
The third Thrawn book, where they gave the details.
The undercover Death Trooper guy that was with him. Yep.
And part of that is the Death Troopers, to be in the Death Trooper program, you have to be 6'4" or higher.
Yeah.
6'3" or 6'4", something like that.
What I loved about that book is what we talked about earlier, they're taking the helmets off, so you're getting to see the unique personalities of these troopers.
Yeah, in the book.
Yeah, in the book, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely
Thrawn book.
And did you notice
Treason? I think is the name of it.
Yeah, the third one. Yeah. Did you notice the first Death Trooper that he starts to fight with grabs him by the helmet?
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was like leverage, because even that
like
happens,
a tactical move.
Yeah, literally happens in football. Like, it's a face mask. I don't know. I didn't know if that was him trying to take off the helmet on purpose or.
I like that he went through those stormtroopers like paper, but then when it came to the Death Trooper, he was putting up a good fight. Like, you could tell
he got slammed to the ground a few times.
Yeah,
it was not easy for him to take him out.
I don't know how tall Pedro is. Pedro Pascal.
Those troopers looked a solid 6 inches or more.
Yeah, they were some big dudes. So. IG-11 then starts to take fire. Unfortunately, he is forced to take a knee just by how much fire he is taking. Mando then decides he's had enough, and callbacks to Chapter 1, Mandalorian picks up a turret and begins to fire upon the Empire. Cara then gets ambushed in the cantina. She's able to fight her way out. Moff Gideon then shoots the power box of the turret, sending Armando flying almost to his death and injuring Armando.
Cara saves his butt, though.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I have some notes here about how she risked her life running outside of the cantina. I mean,
Karga.
Yeah. So there was blaster bolts flying all over the place, and she ran right out to save Mando.
There's definitely a relationship that they've built up, whether it ends up being a romantic one or it's just like a brothers in arms type of relationship. They've built something with these shared experiences that you can feel.
Yeah, Justin, you mentioned during our viewing tonight that you kind of want to see a relationship develop between our man and Cara Dune.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a shipper. I'll ship them all day. Let's have it. Let's have little Cara Mando babies. Cardo.
Because
that's the ship name.
The romantic relationships don't work in the movies.
Cardo. It's Cardo.
It's not Razor Crest.
Nope. It's Cardo.
The Cargo.
The Cardo. So you were saying that they don't work in the movies?
They don't. Yeah, for me, they don't work in the movies because I feel like it's.
Come on, Han and Leia Empire.
The reason that worked is it was subtle. It wasn't
subtle.
like in your face.
Subtle. Yeah.
I think that this has a chance, like in a long form format of a TV show, they could actually do a relationship and make it interesting, especially if they don't rush it. Like if we're through the whole season and there's no inkling, but it would be something cool, like to see the softer side.
And Mando does not hold himself from pleasure, because it was heavily hinted at that him and the Twi'lek had some sort of a relationship before.
Yeah.
So
she was definitely throwing it out there, whether she was doing it to mess with him and it was totally bogus or if it was real. But
I'm pretty sure it was real.
I mean, how intimate can you get when you never remove your helmet? I mean, he says at the end of this episode that no living thing has ever seen his face since he took the creed.
I mean, this is a non-explicit podcast, so maybe we just talk about that with our families.
Yeah.
But,
think about it.
I liked this scene when the gunfight in the town square, because once again, a lot of people kind of say bad things about Carl Weathers with the acting. I don't really see it.
Talk about my chubs.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I enjoy him, but I liked that they kind of made him even more like cool in this episode. He had dual pistols and he's doing damage. Like I like
he's an older guy compared to everybody else, but he's still hanging in that battle without an issue.
Yeah, holding his own.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
a life of he's battle hardened after a life of bounty hunter gilding.
yeah. After the explosion and the injury to Armando, Kara completely like firefighter drags him back like super strong. That is definitely not an easy thing to do.
I greened out doing that in the fire school.
Yeah, right. Moff Gideon then calls up a flame trooper explaining that he needs to burn them out of this cantina. As this flame trooper then lights up the cantina, our baby Yoda, just in the nick of time, steps forward, raising his 2 magic hands, and then uses the Force to completely repel the fire.
And Konnor, you mentioned during our viewing that this reminded you of...
No, don't say it. It's a spoiler, because we were just talking about Rebels.
It's fine. We're not going to talk about what ultimately happens.
And I was the one that said that.
Oh,
there's an amazing moment
sorry,
at the
Justin.
end of Rebels where one of the main people saves everybody in a similar type of way, which it just brought back immediate feelings to.
And it's Filoni, so in my opinion, it's not a coincidence.
Jon Favreau and Filoni are good buds. They're talking.
But meanwhile, before that's all happening, they are back at that sewer grate, still not getting through it.
IG coming in clutch again. Not only is he now an
Plasma torching
anti-droid,
it.
literally, my dude gets through the sewer grate, and then our heroes escape. Mando begs Kara to leave him be. He wants to have a warrior's death. He will absolutely not take his helmet off.
He'll buy time.
Armando, though, is able to be healed by the IG unit. IG explains to him that he is not a living thing, and there's absolutely no reason as to why he cannot take off his helmet and then heal him. But before this, Armando begs IG unit, kind of adding to the sadness of this moment. The warrior's death was not being killed by the Empire. The warrior's death was as a wounded warrior. He wanted IG-11 to kill him. And Armando just wouldn't have it, and IG-11 wouldn't have it. He told him that it was against his program.
He's a nursing droid.
With that, IG-11 takes off the helmet of Armando, and he begins to heal him
Bacta spray.
with Bacta spray. Kind of like, we haven't seen Bacta spray. This was new. We've seen the adrenaline shots.
In games and
I've
stuff,
only
but
seen the
it's not
tank, right?
Yeah, we have the Bacta tanks.
And then in Last Jedi, Finn is like wrapped in this like Bacta bodysuit.
Yeah, he's like
just like in call back to Empire.
Yeah,
pretty much
Luke in
the same thing. But this in what video game do we have like a Bacta spray? I know that we have the injection. The
in Old Republic and stuff, the Bacta spray was like your mobile cure.
Yeah. So Armando then gets healed with the Bacta spray, and the helmet comes off of Armando, revealing the beautiful face of Pedro.
I wouldn't know if I would call it beautiful in this moment.
He was pretty wrecked.
Pedro Pascal.
Which
he was wrecked.
plot hole, his balaclava, or however you say that. I say baklava, but that's a dessert, so I think it's
I love... Dude, you're making me hungry. I think
it's
baklava.
Balaclava that he for sure has on, because you can see it. He pulls the helmet off and there's just nothing there.
Well, the Mandalorians are supposed to have a neck seal, and we heard that neck seal.
Oh yeah, when they took off the helmet,
Russell made a comment about it.
It sounded very similar to when Darth Vader's helmet comes off.
Yeah.
At the end of Return of the
squealy
Jedi.
hiss, the squealy hiss sound.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's just a byproduct of the fact that you haven't taken off this helmet in a long time.
Yeah,
well, he takes his helmet off all the time to eat. He just does it in private.
Yeah.
Well, even from like a costuming aspect, to be part of the Mandalorian the costuming club, you part of the costume is a neck seal. You even see Boba Fett in the original trilogy. He has a neck seal, and that neck seal isn't just meant to be a cloth. It is a seal, and that's to help toxins and gas and high altitude. It's supposed to help with all that. So the picking up on the hearing of the helmet coming off Russell was a really good point. So after this, Kara and Greef are walking down through the sewers with Baby Yoda, and of course they are looking for the covert of the Mandalorians. They quickly turn around, blasters raised after hearing something, just to see IG-11 and Armando thankfully walking through the sewer again. Din and his crew work their way through the tunnels, trying to find the covert. They then stumble.
Don't call him that.
They stumble upon a pile of Mandalorian armor. Mando is infuriated, and he accuses Greef, aka Chubbs, that this was his doing, him and his bounty hunter clan. Then the armor appears. She tells Mando that it was not his fault, that many gave up their creed after the Empire left and the event happened on Navarro.
No, I didn't take it as they
I
gave up
thought
the
they
Creed.
got killed.
No, they said
The
that
Empire came.
Yeah, the Empire came and cleared out the people that
And
weren't in
then
there.
the rest of them evacuated. She was just staying behind to like melt the armor down.
Yeah, but
smelt
some
it.
of them gave up the Creed. I mean, they left willingly. We'll have to rewatch it.
Okay.
Yeah, she said she.
Yeah, that's a good point.
she
because,
said that.
That might be a rewatchable moment.
Oh snap!
Which, speaking of rewatchable moments, we are going to do a full recap next week of the show as a whole.
Yeah, talk about the series as a whole and how we liked the first season. But as Justin brought out, she wants to stay there and salvage what is left of the armor to save the Beskar, to keep it with the Covert. She asks about Baby Yoda, asks what all this distress, similar to how Chubbs and our boy Quill had in previous episodes, asking what all the commotion of this entire series really is about. She explains that she knows of Baby Yoda and Mandalore the Great and the battles that they had in the Old Republic against the Jedi.
I love this.
What did he call it? They called them old sorcerers
Yeah,
or something like that?
Sorcerer warriors.
Yeah.
Din says he's able to move objects with his mind.
Call him Din.
Dude, I'm calling him Din, dude. I like Din. I like his name. So, and that's when she brings out that Mandalore the Great
Yeah.
canon. Because I don't remember Mandalore the Great ever being brought out in Clone Wars.
I think they might have talked about it like during Rebels when Sabine was kind of fighting with the Darksaber and they were talking about Mandalore and she's the new Mandalore or something like that.
Because of the Darksaber.
And they wanted to get back. Well, we're going to get into the Darksaber, but they were like trying to harken back to their warrior ways and who's held the Darksaber was Mandalore or something like that.
She then explains that because of the creed that Din took, that he must give the baby back to its kind. Until he is of age, or until he is reunited with his own kind, Din, Armando, is now his father. You are a clan of two, she says. Then she explains to our Mandalorian Din that he has earned his signet.
Finally.
Mudhorn.
Then she welds on a Beskar emblem of a Mudhorn, which is awesome.
Which
It
is
is.
awesome, but it also made me think, like, in real world terms, like, if you remember in chapter 1, she tries to give him this Mudhorn signet, and
he's
he
like,
just
no.
refused to accept it, and she's like, I already made it.
Look, this is your signet, okay? Like, just
There we
take
go.
it.
End
Just
of
take
the
it.
episode, final episode. He's like, I've had this, like, made for you, so well this on right now.
He's like, listen, I already told you. I didn't want this.
Yeah.
It wasn't a clean kill.
Stupid Mudhorn. I don't want my logo to be a Mudhorn.
So cool looking.
You're like, he like starts picking hairs. He's like, this isn't a Mudhorn. This is a rhino. Like, this isn't what I signed up
It's
for.
from the Terran homeworld.
Yeah.
But it is an awesome looking signet, which I had to take a picture of it while we were watching because I wanted to look at it up close.
So he did. He's like, so you want me to basically find this homeworld of these warrior sorcerers?
Enemies. He calls them enemies too.
Enemies. And she's like, this is the way. So
He's
that,
like, well, ding. There we go.
I guess we got to do it.
I have spoken.
And so season 2, we may actually get to see the homeworld of Yoda's species.
Quickly,
What a
round
reveal.
table. Would you like that? Yes or no?
Yes.
Nah, I like the mystery.
I am also of the no. I was talking to my
Could go
buddy.
either way.
I was talking to my buddy Matt earlier. We were texting, and he asked me. He was like, "What if they like find more Yodas? Like, how would you feel about that?" And I'm like, "I want the mystery to stay."
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know,
Some things don't need to be explained.
George Lucas purposely made it mysterious, so I feel like
Exactly.
it kind of would be kind of disrespectful to him. So yeah, I guess the more I think about it, I don't want to see a bunch of Yodas running around.
yeah. Yeah. And going back into the episode, after naming him a clan of two and the Mudhorn as his signet, she then asks Armando, "Have you trained in the Rising Phoenix?" Armando explains that it has been a long time. She then gives him an obvious,
As a boy, that's the last time he trained.
Jetpack baby.
dude, jetpack,
Rocketeer.
jetpack boys.
I got to get me one of those.
She
You know,
immediately
he has
tells
one.
him he has to resume his drills.
Dude, forget motorcycles. We're gonna make a jetpack gang.
Oh,
Okay.
Swoop Bike Gang and Jetpack Boys.
Oh yeah, keep on the lookout for Swoop Bike Gang because that's coming to some sort of merch near you. Swoop Bike Gang. It's awesome. You heard it here. Anyway, IG-11 then moves on to kill an Imperial scouting party. The armor then, in a wicked display of no weaponry, but the weapons that she uses on a daily basis, which are her forging tools, completely takes out her
Hammer
own scouting
and a pair
party.
of tongs.
Dude, wrecking people.
The last time we saw stormtrooper helmets exploding was, I think Konnor said, in Rogue One, the movie. Oh my
And then
gosh.
did you also catch the one dude? She like just slings onto her forge, and he just melts right into it.
Dude, face first, arms,
Oh,
feet,
gosh.
legs, everything. Dude just disappears.
We were all worried about her. Like, she's going to die. Nope.
Yeah, and she's definitely not dead. She's got to show up in season 2.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too. Din and his crew then find the lava river and a boat. They push the boat down the river with the help of the most wickedest of modified R2 units. My R2 unit has not skipped leg day ever. Okay.
He's been there a long time. Did you notice the rocks were all over him and he was getting up? Like, those rocks were falling off
Yeah,
of him?
like-
We were all
you guys are here.
all speculating what the heck it was, and it kind of, to me, from the dark scene that was, if it was a battle droid legs and arms,
B1
just,
battle droid legs.
just like
Yeah, we were trying to figure out
welded
what
up
it looked
onto
like,
a
yeah.
astromech.
And we saw like a modded droids back in episode 4
When they're walking through the
krill.
market.
Yeah, with the krill episode 4 when
Oh,
the
yeah,
krill's
yeah,
like
yeah.
Oh,
in-
yeah. That
So-
was an R2 unit, right?
Yeah, so we've seen some other modified
The one walking through
modified
like
units.
the
Yeah, the
water,
ponds.
the water.
Yeah. So as they are moving down the lava river, they notice that there is no way out. A large group of stormtroopers is assembled outside the door at the end of this lava river.
Predator heat
With
vision.
Tiny lava ferrets running through the river.
Yeah, I loved those.
Yeah.
We need a Mandalorian visual dictionary.
I'm
For
pretty
real.
sure Disney's going to have merch available for those guys before
Listen.
Baby Yoda.
Gonna buy it. Gonna buy it, no question.
Lava ferret.
Lava ferrets.
IG-11 knows what he must do. He has to self-destruct and use the thermal detonator that he was not able to use in Episode 1, Chapter 1, to completely kill the stormtroopers.
I loved this dialogue exchange between Armando and IG-11. There was some concern.
He went from straight hating him
Right.
and hating droids in general to, I can tell that you're sad.
Character evolution over the course of the season was awesome. I mean, he genuinely did not want to lose IG-11. He's like, we need this guy.
yeah.
I'm a nurse droid. I can tell by the tone of your voice that you're sad.
Yeah.
Whatever he says.
He's like, I'm not sad. These aren't tears.
I'm not crying. There's sand in my eyes. And Mando comes around to the IG unit. He knows that he needs him. IG-11 assures Mando that there is nothing sad about it because, once again, he has never been alive. With that, he walks through the lava towards his certain death.
Which, before he blows himself up, have we ever talked about who does the voice of IG-11?
We haven't yet, but we can talk about him now.
It's the director of this episode, actually, who
Yes.
is, I know his last name is Waititi.
Taika.
Waititi,
Taika Waititi.
who was also the director for Thor Ragnarok.
And he is also, I can't remember the character name, but
The
he's
rock
the
guy.
rock guy.
He's a New Zealand
It's
guy.
just a
so
freaky circle. Hey, are those eggs? Those eggs you
Yeah.
got there, buddy? Eggs? That's what, yeah, that guy.
So it's super cool. Like,
That was really good.
Hey, starting a revolution, you know? Here's a pamphlet.
the director
I
of
wanna
this
watch Thor Ragnarok
episode,
now.
yeah, the director of this episode is actually like a character that's been in since the first episode.
And it's funny, like these directors are putting themselves
They
in
wanna be
characters,
part of Star Wars.
and I'm so jealous.
And
like,
it's
can
still
I direct
so good.
something so that I can just just listen, Disney, call me up, okay? I'll be an extra. You can paint me pink. I don't care. Actually, I'm already pretty pink. I'm pretty pale, but listen, I need to be in Star Wars. But
I think all of us do. KonKon's Cantina.
I
Three
don't
of
even
us.
like Star Wars that much.
He's more of a Trekkie.
yeah. IG-11 then walks through the lava towards his certain death.
Rip.
After he explodes, sending shrapnel no doubtedly through every single one of the stormtroopers, Din, Cara, and Baby Yoda in grief emerge from the cave to see Moff Gideon flying a TIE fighter. It just, the bad luck doesn't end.
No.
Mhm.
It does not end.
That's the same TIE fighter that like bendied up when it
Yep.
landed.
Mhm.
Got right back in it. Grief then begs Baby Yoda to do the magic hands. Do
Oh,
the
that
magic
part was
hands.
so
I
funny.
love that.
Loved it.
He
And
just
he-
gave
and
him.
He just waves.
He
He's
gave him
like,
a hi.
Yeah.
My whole family laughed this morning. We were watching it.
Such a baby thing. Like you wave at a baby and it just
Yeah.
waves back. Making his second pass, Mando explains that he is not going to miss again. Activating his Rising Phoenix, aka his jetpack, Mando
Very
flies
roughly.
into the air, very roughly.
Yeah, he's not, like he said, he's not skilled with this thing.
Uses his grappling wire, his grappling hook, to get onto Moff Gideon's TIE fighter. As he is thrown around perilously, Mando tries to set charges onto the TIE fighter, unfortunately missing his first charge.
Yeah, the thing got blown out of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Successfully landing 2 charges onto the TIE fighter.
Kaboomy.
Gideon then crashes
Bye,
and
Felicia.
Mando lands safely on the ground.
Can we talk a little bit about how this is very reminiscent? I think it was either Clone Wars or Rebels, where Mando's flying around fighting TIE fighters or something. They're
No,
fighting.
that was Rebels. Yeah.
Sabine
Yes.
takes out a whole trooper transport.
And again, this is
with,
all animation, so
Yeah.
we're seeing this for the first time live. How
action.
cool is that?
he's going to become more proficient.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm sure by the start
episode-
of season 2,
yeah.
like he's gonna be like a master at it.
I am a little disappointed that like the whole covert is gone. Like,
I don't know if they're gone, disbanded, or
I don't
just
know. That
they.
was a lot of armor.
It was,
Oh,
but I
yeah,
don't think
there's a
that's
lot.
all of them.
No, definitely not all of them, but
They said some got off planet. Hopefully
Yeah.
they'll
We'll get
reconvene
more.
somewhere.
and that was my point. I hope that we see them more.
I love it. That's 5 years after Return of the Jedi, 4 years after the Battle at Jakku. So the Empire's pretty much just gone, but yet
They're
the
still-
stormtroopers can land
And the stormtroopers
and take out
still
Mandalorians.
are like seeking out Mandalorians actively.
crazy.
Because they
Still.
said when they came out in episode 3, that brought too much attention, and the Empire, who is nothing
right.
really at this point, immediately makes it a priority to take them out.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder what the heck happened.
Kara and Greef then decide to stay on Navarro. Mando takes off with Baby Yoda to go back to the Razor Crest. After landing on the ground and walking to his ship, Mando buries our boy Quill. Moment of silence
Quill.
for our boy Quill.
He has not spoken anything.
He has spoken his final word.
Quill is done. I was really hoping that IG was going to heal him or
Oh, he'd be dead.
Baby Yoda.
Bacta
Yeah,
can
he
only
was
do
dead.
so much.
Mando then walks into his ship and flies off. Into the distance, we get a panning shot that goes back to the crashed TIE fighter. A black tip pierces through the TIE fighter, cutting almost a perfect circle.
Well, you missed
Geeked out, man.
You skipped the Jawas are already trying to
Yeah,
scavenge that
Listen,
sucker.
forget those stupid little Jawas.
We knew they were around this planet.
We have more important matters to attend to because Moff Gideon then emerges and climbs to the top of his TIE fighter, which is no doubt the Darksaber, which is why,
My God.
people, you need to watch Star Wars, Clone Wars, and Rebels. This is where you will get the backstory to what this item is.
Mm-hmm.
This
More
is
Rebels,
not-
actually.
Now,
Rebels talks about the like history of it, like a
Yeah, this
1,000
is
years
not
before.
your regular lightsaber.
you said Clone Wars.
No, this is Rebels.
But Clone Wars, pre-Vizsla, he's the one that gives the whole backstory.
Hmm.
He gives the whole, which let's talk about that real quickly.
Okay.
So
Different.
this lightsaber came from Tyla.
Well, we can't give this all away.
Yeah, we can.
No, I can give you the backstory of the black saber itself. I won't talk about it in
Dark
Clone
saber.
Wars and Rebels. Listen,
Darksaber.
the dark saber,
Black saber.
Racist.
the dark saber was invented by the first Mandalorian Jedi.
The only.
Mandalorian Jedi.
Yeah.
And this is canon. And I had all this information and I didn't write it down because like I knew it and I was overconfidence was my weakness. Shout outs to Return of the Jedi. And
Your faith in your
Shout
friends
outs
is
to
yours.
90% of the things I say.
yeah, exactly. I didn't write his name down. And the first Mandalorian Jedi, full Mandalorian armor and everything, and he didn't create a lightsaber. He created this dark saber. It was
But one of its kind.
one of its kind. It's very similar to a primitive lightsaber.
The proto sabers.
Yeah, like 8,000 BBY before the Battle of Yavin, aka A New Hope. The Sith and the Jedi were in the hundreds of thousands, and when they would battle, this was before lightsabers were invented, and they literally had swords. Then they went to energized weapons that had an actual battery pack.
The
Then
proto
they
were, like,
sabers is what
connected.
had like the tether with the backpack thing on you.
And then they went to the newer version of the proto saber, which was actually a retractable blade and no longer an imbued physical blade. And then I don't think there was an actual BBY given for, if there was, I missed it. But whenever
For the actual lightsaber.
for this dark saber, and when
Which the blade is a totally different shape than a lightsaber.
It looks more like a
It's
katana.
a hiccup. Yeah, a katana thin blade.
And the weird thing, and I'm surprised that they didn't do this, is when he was staying on top of the TIE fighter, one thing that if you haven't watched Clone Wars or Rebels, this blade retracts. This is not a sheathed weapon. This is an energy weapon, just like a lightsaber. When you turn it on, it takes the shape of a sword, and it retracts into the hilt. Which
Do you
I'm
think it's
surprised that
kyber?
they. I don't know. It's not
Some
really
special
explained.
kyber crystal.
So the point in this is when this Mandalorian Jedi died, the Jedi took his lightsaber and put it in the Jedi archives. The Mandalorians, being the warrior race that they were, felt that weapon, it's part of their religion.
They
wanted it.
They Ocean 11 to that place and ganked it.
Ocean 11, 12, and 13, the Jedi Temple, and stole back the Darksaber. This was then given to Clan Vizsla, which was the first Jedi that actually made it, and Duncan, the heavy Mando that we talked about in episode 3. If you watch the credits,
he was voiced by Favreau.
The last name of that character is Vizsla.
Right.
Really?
Coming from Clan Vizsla.
I think we did point that out. We did.
I think that's the first I've heard that.
We did not point that out. And one other thing that we didn't point out is when the Mandalorian this episode was getting saved, another reason why you need to watch Clone Wars, when he was getting saved by the Mandalorians, you will notice a signet on the pauldron
we glossed over that.
The knees and the chest piece of those blue Mandalorians, and that 3-claw imprint is Death Watch.
Yeah, we totally glossed over that on our recap.
We did. And that clan of Death Watch is just a huge deal. It does look like a monster emblem. I just picked that up. Yeah. It does.
So everybody knows, we're talking about, in this episode, the flashback scene.
Yeah.
Where you got to see
him being saved.
Yeah, baby Pedro, and the long drawn out we've seen flashes of. That was Death Watch.
And Russell, what else did you have on the Darksaber?
So there was multiple clans, or I guess phases of Death Watch. This could have been, I guess you could say, a sect of Death Watch that split.
Had to be 30 plus years ago. Yeah,
right after the death of Pre Vizsla. Palp's at that point, Maul is ruling Mandalore with Savage Opress, his brother, and Palp's obviously doesn't want that to happen, so he goes and just murders him. Kills Savage Opress, Maul's brother.
To be fair, he ruled for like a week.
Yeah, it was like a good week.
It was a hot minute.
And then he turns Maul onto something else. The Death Watch then split and became the Mandalore Resistance, led by Bo-Katan Kryze, I'm not sure how to say that, which is actually the sister of Satine.
Obi-Wan's lost love.
Right, which was the Duchess of Mandalore during the pacifist thing. So I guess when she was the former
there's so much
owner of the Darksaber.
Clone Wars if they don't.
Dude, I know. Like, we're talking over which is fine.
Yeah. No, this is actually Rebels, what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
So they fight. Remember, I think Sabine fights someone with the Darksaber.
No, she fights the governor.
She fights the governor who's for the Empire.
And then she kills him, and then she hands the Darksaber to Bo-Katan.
She tries to give it to her a couple times, and she won't take it. And it's not till like 3 episodes later she finally accepts it and starts to rule.
They're on planet Mandalore, which is ruled. This is Rebels. They're on planet Mandalore, which is ruled by the Empire.
Right.
There's a governor that has been instituted by the Empire. They give him their own kind of Mandalorian / Imperial armor, and his name is Crocs. And anyway, that guy.
He's a croc.
But Sabine's mother is the governor,
Clan
Wren. Clan Wren. She is the ruler of Mandalore. And so Sabine gives her mother the Darksaber, and in return for her daughter's safety, she gives the saber over to Crux. And then they fight, and Sabine defeats Crux in 1-1 combat, which the Mandalorian way would then to be she would kill him and they would follow her instead of following him.
He had him in a Dooku style double lightsaber, like scissor cut move.
Do it. And she doesn't.
She wouldn't do it.
She wouldn't do it, which is fine. And listen, guys, or watch Clone Wars and
Rebels. That was all Rebels, but yeah,
it's worth it.
Well, we were getting into the history, like the old stuff with Obi-Wan and all that's all.
So again, that time period that takes place like a year before A New Hope, right? So at that point in time, the Empire's got maybe 5 years left. Before Return of the Jedi.
They're on Mandalore.
Right.
Governing.
So some point between that
which must have been when the Moff Gideon was the ISB agent that they said had to have been that same time frame now.
So somehow Gideon kills her and takes the Darksaber.
Kills Bo-Katan.
Right.
Yeah.
Bo-Katan.
We're guessing he kills her.
We're guessing because she's the last one in possession.
It went from we knew she had it to now we know Gideon has it.
And just like the armor in this episode, we know that Bo would never willingly hand over the Darksaber.
Right.
So we're concluding that she would literally die.
Especially to an Imperial.
Yeah, and she would die protecting
either killed or stolen somehow, probably more than likely killed.
Yeah. So guys, thank you for joining us on this journey of Mandalorian Season 1. As brought out in the intro, podcast isn't over. Come on, guys. We're not going anywhere. We have so much more content coming out. Next week, we'll be doing a Mandalorian recap of the entire first season.
As a whole.
And then following that, we will be doing our spoiler cast of Rise of Skywalker, where we will be getting into all the dirty deeds of the movie, good and bad. But this episode
and our live episode at Wops Hops
January 8th.
Oh yeah, cannot
Please
wait.
come out and support us.
This
Make us
episode
rich.
is not over. We have news, not a lot, but we have news. So we will kick it off with our news right now. Justin, you launch us off first, and then I will follow up with some news.
First thing that I'm going to talk about is shout out to my wife who obsessively plays The Sims. They now have
For years.
Yeah. They now have a Baby Yoda available in Sims. She already has immediately bought it and made an entire Star Wars family.
Is Sims EA? Yeah. So man, they are getting some money from.
Yeah.
They are giving some money to Disney.
Yep. That's a quick little stint. The other thing that I brought out is my favorite character, tied. I have a 1 and 2 spot that go back and forth. It's Mara Jade, which I talk about all the time. And Darth Revan is now canon again.
Per Rise of Skywalker.
Oh. Now, this is not a spoiler. This is nothing to do with the movie.
His name is literally not. No, Darth Revan.
That's what I was.
Yeah,
you
his
said
name is
Mara Jade
literally.
and I got sidetracked.
Yeah, no. This is nothing spoiler with the movie. This is based out off of the visual dictionary that just came out. Mine came in the mail today. On the page covering the Sith troopers, it goes into the different legions of Sith troopers in the past, and the third legion was Revan's legion. So, official, Darth Revan is canon. I'm hoping this is the first little snippet that we get, that we might get some more content or something, because he's amazing.
Moving on with more
What you
news.
got?
We got some new movies coming out. Okay, some movies that I'm pretty excited about. First of all, next year, 2021, February 21st, Harrison Ford, our boy, the man who does not care, but he is the lead role of Call of the Wild. This is an adaptation of the short adventure novel by Jack London. It follows the adventures of a dog who struggles to survive in the Alaskan wilderness.
The dog looks fake.
Yeah, right. It does, kind of. It's a dog that struggles to survive in the Alaskan wilderness that is stolen from his family property and sold off as a sled dog. It is a live CG action movie starring Harrison Ford. If you kill this dog, Disney, we will come after you.
Have any of you guys read the book?
I have not, but
Me neither.
I want to just see the movie. I don't want to read it.
I like White Fang, but for some reason I had zero interest when I saw the trailer.
I'll see it solely because of Harrison Ford. The New Mutants, April 3rd, 2020. This is a new installment in Marvel, so will be Marvel's first X-Men movie, right?
Oh,
I was gonna say, is this a
yeah.
movie or is this a TV show?
It says movie. It says it says that it's the next installment in Marvel's X-Men. So I'm assuming movie, because we don't have anything that is X-Men that isn't a movie. So
I hope it's a movie, but I don't know.
this was
I kind of want a Disney Plus series, to be honest.
Yeah.
yeah, well, it could be. But so this was actually it's still 20th Century Fox is what it says. So I'm a little bit confused on that one.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, so I don't know if the deal has been finalized with X-Men, but it follows a group of teenage mutants who are kept in captivity in a secret facility. Big star in it is going to be Maisie Williams, and that is literally the
Who is
only info.
don't
She's
even know
made
who that
famous
is.
by Game of Thrones.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, yeah, I don't either. Also, in more movies, we already had a little bit of tidbit episode on it. Black Widow is coming out May 2020.
I'm so excited for that.
I am. I've seen the trailer 3 times now because of seeing Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, because
Only
when
3 times?
when I
Yeah.
talked about it, nobody else in this room had seen that trailer, and I
tried to play it during our last episode and I got yelled at.
I didn't get the
did.
hype
Sorry.
reaction that I expected from
It's
that.
so good.
Yeah.
It looks so good.
Also, July 3rd, which we'll talk about the trailer in more depth at another time, we have the Ryan Reynolds movie, Free Guy. This is a action comedy about a bank terminal man who is questioned and consistently gets robbed. But he soon discovers that it is his own fault because he is a non-playable game in a video game called Free City.
He's an NPC.
Yep, he's an NPC, and he decides to do something about it. And that was all I had on news.
No, we'll talk a little bit about Rise of Skywalker box office. Right now it's at 1.32 billion.
Woo!
Which apparently it did bomb in China, which is not surprising because Last Jedi bombed in China.
Dude, give me 1%. Now, do they say when they say bombed, is that because they make up most of the population, so they expect it to do better?
Well, Force Awakens did well, didn't it? I think that's what they're comparing it to. Anyway, Force Awakens made 2.06 billion, Solo 393 million, and Rogue One made 1.05 billion. So it already beat Rogue One. So that's impressive. We're not even in the second weekend yet, are we?
No.
So it could join that 100 million losers club, which is, basically from the first weekend to the second weekend, it literally drops 100 million, which that can kind of be sweet and bad at the same time. I don't think it's going
to, man. People are seeing this movie 2-3 times over
I don't think it's going to either, just because I think a lot more people take this more positively than
especially
Last Jedi.
the holiday weekend. I know personally at least 6
New
people.
Year's.
It did good.
6 people that went Christmas Day to see that
and that's
movie.
what I was going to say, is it did good on Christmas. We're going into its second, as you were talking about, Russell. The 27th, the 28th, and the 29th of December will be its second weekend, and January 4th, 5th, and 6th will be its third weekend.
Right.
Now, this is like a really weird. I wonder where Disney's physical year stops and begins.
Like because their fiscal year?
You mean fiscal?
Because we're... did I say physical? You knew what I meant.
Physical year ends December 31st.
Yeah.
The fiscal year
calendar
could be like
year
September.
versus fiscal year.
And I wonder where their money starts and stops, because it has to stop before this, because if they're always releasing a Star Wars movie in Christmas, which, by the way, more news, December 2022 is our next Star Wars movie. It will not be a trilogy as of yet, because...
it will not be a Skywalker-related movie, and I'm happy.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I just wonder where it stops and where it starts, because we're going into a new year with this movie still being...
The fiscal year ended September 28th.
And there we go.
September.
And that's pretty much what I thought, is usually September is like a big year for big companies. So, well, guys, thank you for joining us on this Mandalorian journey. We would like to thank...
and sad day.
Each and every one of you.
We each cannot wait until season 2.
Oh my gosh, give us a date, Disney. Okay, we need more things to look forward to. But
do you think that's going to be the next Star Wars content we get on Disney Plus? Is going to be season 2? Or do you think we're going to get something?
No,
in
we
between?
got Clone Wars coming.
Clone Wars.
We already talked about that. Yes.
Season 7.
I was thinking live action.
Cassian K2SO.
We still don't have a release date for Obi-Wan or Cassian.
I just saw that thing on this earlier today. Obi-Wan is confirmed filming.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, so I think January is when they started.
Yeah.
Deborah Chow is busy at work then.
And I think the Cassian is just confirmed. I don't think it's anything.
I feel like that one's been...
and they...
longer.
Like James said on our episode, I did finally see the article
the Vader possibility.
The Vader show is like a thing. They are,
it's not confirmed. It's rumored.
I've seen 2 very credible sources.
If it was confirmed, it would have been more out there.
Yeah, probably. Point. Well, listen, those things they taught, we'll see. But guys, thank you so much for joining us on this recap of Chapter 8 Mandalorian. We will see you again at our live episode, and we will also be releasing more bonus episodes. And
Make us rich. Support us.
Come back next week as we recap the entire Season 1 of Mandalorian, telling you our likes and dislikes, and we'll also be going into our spoiler cast for Rise of Skywalker.
Can't wait for that one.
I was your boy with the Cantina crew. It's KonKon, followed by the PR man, the man of 1,000 mans,
Justin Allen.
No, that's my
Baker.
middle name, bro. Is that your middle name, really?
Yeah.
No, that's my middle name.
Listen,
I spell mine different though.
L-L-L-Y-N.
I-A-N.
Oh, well, there we go.
Sexy.
And speaking of the other Allen,
Russell Allen, Magistrate.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Adios, muchachos.